Hello once again. Good to see you in that lecture, the series of e-learning program. The last lecture, we initiated a new topic about subject-verb agreement. We looked into a number of nouns and their usage with regards to singularity and plurality. Today, we're going to continue the topic and learn something more about and get into the understanding of subject-verb agreement in a sentence. Lastly, in the lecture we understood about some nouns which are used only in the plural sense. Today we are going to continue with that topic, something to add to it, and then we will get along with the other parts of this topic. To begin, I will take some sentences which you will try to analyze for yourself and acknowledge yourself and see if you are able to understand. Although I will be helping you out with this. Without further ado, let's continue. A few sentences with which I'd like to start are very important. Neither Ram nor his brother. Now what do you see over here? Was present. Here I am not talking about a single person, I am talking about two people. I am saying Ram and his brother, two people. So if I am talking about two, what am I supposed to write? A plural verb, isn't it? But what have we used over here? Was present. So we have a rule for this. That is what we are learning in subject-verb agreement. We have our subject, Ram and his brother, but the verb used is singular. So this is one special rule or special thing that you need to know. Neither Ram nor his brother was present. Okay? Two people, still we have used the word was, which is singular, and it has to be satisfied accordingly. Few more sentences before I get into the details of each and every one of them. Neither iron nor coal is to be found, and I am not writing are to be found, is to be found in that country. So once again you see the singular verb used is over there. Yet another sentence. Neither praise nor blame seems to affect her. Seems to affect her. Once again, the word seems, the singular format. Don't get carried away with the S. Applying an S is singular, not a plural with the verb. Just as I explained, fly and flies. Flies is the singular of fly. When you have a plural subject, you use fly. When you have a singular subject, you use flies. Similarly, praise and blame seems to affect her, but we have got two things over here, praise and blame. Two nouns, still a singular has been used. I'm still taking two more sentences before I get into the in-depth understanding of this. Neither he nor I was mistaken. Was mistaken. Final sentence with a proper noun. Ashok or his brother Ashok or his brother is to blame, and I'm not writing are to blame. So by now you may have got a slight understanding or maybe a perfect understanding with the help of these sentences. Ram nor his brother, iron nor coal, praise nor blame, he nor I, Ashok or his brother. In all these sentences you find two names, two nouns. Despite of that, we have singular verbs like was, is, seems, was, and again is. Now let me give you an explanation about this. When one of the nouns of or the pronouns are joined by either or neither nor, then the singular and the other is in the plural, or both are in the singular, then we consider the first one to be taken. For example, as you saw in the sentences over here, Ram or his brother, where you find Ram as a singular, iron, praise, he, and Ashok. All of them are singular nouns. Similarly, we join them. For example, we say the word which is very close to this verb over here, Ram nor his brother. What are we considering? Brother. So we are talking about one of them, because neither refers to any one, not both. Therefore, we are writing neither Ram nor his brother was present, and we are not using the plural were over here, W-R-E, were over here. That is why you find in all these sentences a singular verb being utilized, although we have two nouns in each sentences over here. That is one thing to keep in mind. Further talking about this, another kind of sentence that I would like to just write along with this to make my meaning clear. When one of the nouns or pronouns joined by either or, neither nor, or simply they are joined, then in case the first noun is singular and the other is plural, likewise if the first is plural and the second is singular, then we try to use the verb which is very close to it, or the noun which is very close to it. For example, in the sentence I write John or his brothers. Now have a look at this and compare the previous sentences. John or his brothers. I am making a choice over here, or his brothers, and have a look at the verb, the main verb that I am trying to use over here. John or his brothers are to blame, and I have not written is to blame. John or his brothers are to blame. That is why the first one we had Ram or his brother, where Ram and brother both were singular. Therefore we had used was, whereas here we have John, or in option we have got brothers. Therefore the one which is close to the verb will be used over here. Similarly, if I write neither the teacher nor the students, I've used the words neither nor the students. Now in this sentence, the second word, which is a noun, is in the plural form. Therefore, we will be writing a plural verb, were present and not was present. So I hope you have been able to identify the difference between the two set of sentences that have been put on the board. Well, going further with yet another rule about joining the sentences or using them as in singular and plural and using the correct verb. If two subjects are joined by either or neither nor and have different persons, the verb should agree in the person with the subject nearest to it. What do I mean to say this? Let me explain it with the help of a few sentences. As in these sentences, which I will try to put up on the board. If two subjects are joined by either or neither nor and are having different persons, as in this sentence. Either you or he is telling a lie. Now you can very well observe over here two different persons used over here. I'm talking about the grammar persons that you learned. First person, second person and third person. Either you, the subject you is in the second person, or he, the word he is a pronoun in the third person. So two different persons are being joined over here, the person that we speak in grammar. So either you or he. So what would be our verb over here? That's very important part of this learning. What verb should we take over here? Should we take a singular verb? Should we take a plural verb? Well, a singular verb is written in what context? If two subjects are joined by either or neither nor of two different persons, the verb should agree with the subject nearest to it. So what was the subject nearest to it? The subject was singular. Therefore, we've taken as is and not are. In case it was plural, then we would have taken the verb as are, as a plural verb. Well, let me take another example for you. Neither my brother nor he nor I am to blame. Have a look. Neither my brother, neither nor I am to blame. Once again you see two different persons. My brother, talking about some person. My brother refers to the third person over here. I refer to the first person singular. Neither my brother nor I am to blame. I've used am. I have not used are or was, were. Clear? So I'm using the word in the, or the verb I'm using is in the the singular form, not in the plural form. Well, because it has to satisfy the subject which is very close to it. Okay. Getting along with the next thing. If two nouns are joined by the word with or as well as, many times we use these words to join sentences. If two nouns are joined by the word with or as well as, the verb agrees with the first one or the first noun. In other words, if the first noun is singular, then the verb must be singular, and even if the second noun is plural. Similarly, if the first noun is plural and the second noun is singular, then we will go with the plural verb. Let's write and understand this different rule which will help us to join sentences in the exercise correctly. All these rules are very important. So write on the board. If two nouns are joined by with or as well as by words by with or as well as, word with and as well as, the verb agrees, that is what we are learning, agreement of the subject and its verb, it agrees with the first noun. Even if the second noun is plural. But remember the condition, with and as well as, not otherwise. When you are joining two nouns with the word with or as well as, then the rule is applied. Let's see a few examples of the similar type or to satisfy this rule. If I have to write like this, Rama as well as means in addition to or along with, as well as her friend. I'm writing Rama as well as her friend. I take the verb over here, which I want to write, has won the prize. What is the word I have used? I have used has, which is a singular verb. So it agrees accordingly with the first noun, Rama as well as her friend. Although in the sentence Rama was singular and friend was singular. But we have written the verb, the singular verb has, taking into consideration the word Rama, the first noun and not the second one. Let's see a little different sentence. As in this sentence, you will find the king with, the word used is with in order to join two nouns, the king with all his ministers have a look at the word ministers, it is plural. The king with all his ministers. Now it is time to decide the verb, but as said in the rule, we will consider the first noun and not the second noun, even if it is plural. The second noun is plural, the first noun is singular. The king with all his ministers, I will not be using a plural verb, I will be using a singular verb, was killed. So here I have used a singular verb and not a plural verb to satisfy and learn this rule. Another sentence. The ship with its crew members, so crew, was lost. Have a careful look what verb has been used. A singular verb has been used in order to refer to the first noun, which is singular. In case the first noun was plural, then we would have used the plural verb, were, or whatever was suitable over there. Getting into another rule about the usage of singular plural verb according to the sense with regards to collective nouns. All these rules are very important when you choose a verb to agree with its subject. Well, a collective noun takes a singular or plural verb according to the sense. What sense you are using the collective noun for? Basically, collective noun is used for a group of similar or same kind of common nouns. But sometimes the sense is different. Therefore, we have to choose wisely. So, a collective noun takes a singular or plural verb according to sense. According to sense. So in what sense? If the idea of oneness, something that is one together as one unit, if the idea of oneness is expressed when you're talking about a collective noun and you mean to say something that is one altogether, then the verb must be singular. The verb must be singular. Then we need to use a singular verb. If the individuals of the collection, that is the common noun which is given that collective name, they are referred to, then the verb must be plural. But if you're talking about an individual, if the individuals of the collection, if the individuals of the collection are referred to the verb must be plural. Now, this was a lot to understand. Without examples, to understand this would be not possible. So let me take a collective noun with two different senses used in a sentence. As given in this sentence, the word jury. Yes, jury is a set of judges, a panel of judges who take a decision. So I'll use the word jury in order to express in a sentence the jury, meaning men or women of the jury. Were divided in their opinion. I will say were divided in their opinion. So what am I using? The jury were divided. This is just the meaning so that you understand in what sense we have used. The jury were divided in their opinion. Here I am using the word were. Why? Because I am talking about the individual men and women who had different opinions for the case that they were referring to. They all had different ideas, different opinions. They did not have a unity in their idea. So they all had different, although they were a member of the jury, they were called jury members. But because each and every one had different views about the case that they were referring to and they wanted to give different decisions, so they were divided in their opinion. Hence, the word were used in the plural sense and not in the singular sense. The same word I'll take with the sentence, the jury, or I take it as a collective noun, as a body, as a one thing, equal to one body, has elected its foreperson. Its foreperson. What do you say? Here jury members wanted to take up a decision to select someone as the foreperson, as a leader person for them. So they together took a collective decision unanimously. Together they took up the decision without any kind of bar or whether any kind of difference of opinion. Therefore, here we used the singular verb has and not have. We didn't write the jury have elected, we said jury has elected. Therefore, the jury has been taken as a sense of singularity. Here jury has been taken as a sense of individual people inside them as plurality. So it depends on what sense we use with the collective noun. Let me take two more examples. The council meets today. The council meets today in the town hall. Here the word meets has been taken as a singular sense. Therefore the word meets has been, it is not in the council. Council has been considered as a collective noun where a member of people considered to be a council taken as one single unit. It means all individual people that are in the council are going to come and have a meeting in the town hall. But together they will be referred to as one single unit. Therefore the word meets has been used in the singular sense and not in the plural sense. I talk about the crowd. You know what is a crowd? Okay, a mob, a crowd. The crowd was frightened. So here a mob is or a crowd is being frightened at the sight of the lion. When the people saw the lion, they were frightened. So here we are not referring to individual people, we are referring to the crowd as one single unit. The whole group who saw the lion, they got frightened. So the mob was frightened and not were frightened, because all of them were frightened. Everybody is having the same feeling of getting scared. So we can say the whole mob was frightened. Hence was is a singular verb used to make its agreement clear. Well, getting along with some more rules which are very important. Words like either, neither, each, everyone, many, a must be followed by a verb in the singular. Now let's see what is this and understand in details about it. Words like either, neither, each, everyone, and many a. Either, neither, each, everyone, and many a. Words like this must be followed by a verb in the singular. They must use a singular verb. Must be followed a singular verb. Let's see and understand this rule with the help of one or two examples. I write either of the two roads, means I am making a choice between two roads. Either of two roads leads to the railway station. So see the verb that I am using, leads, with the s, it's not plural, it is singular. Okay? Either of the two roads leads to the railway station. So in this manner, the rule gets satisfied using of either or neither, and some more sentences we'll see. So here in this sentence, either is used to make a choice between two roads, that one of the two roads is leading to the railway station. Another sentence with neither. Neither of the two applicants here I'm talking about two applicants, two people who applied for a job. Neither of the two applicants, I will not say are, but I will say is suitable for that job, or is suitable. Is suitable. Well, so a singular verb has been used, or a singular verb follows when you use neither in a sentence with these verbs, when such terms are used. Another example. Neither of them, I've used the word of them. Them is used for plural, not for singular. Neither of them likes hard work. Once again, you see in the sentence over here, as the word neither was used, it shows some kind of singularity. Neither of them. We're talking about any one of them or all of them. Group of people who are not hardworking. So I'm saying neither of them likes hard work. Likes again is what? A singular verb, not a plural verb. Do not get carried away with the letter S. An example with the word each. Each of these boys, each of these boys has done his best. So you see over here in this sentence too, the word each was used. Each of these boys has done, but the word or the verb used is has and not have. So it's a singular verb that has been followed. Another sentence. Each of these men is reliable. So in this sentence, you can see the word reliable, or the word each of these men reliable, but is reliable. Clear? Because the word each was used to show the reliability of men, although the word men is plural, but applying the word each now makes it, or has to be followed with the help of this rule, as singular verb. It will not be followed by a plural verb. Finally, two more sentences before we come to the ending of this understanding of this topic. Everyone, I've used the word everyone, of the boats on the boat, everyone of the boat's crew the boat's crew was drowned. It means no one survived. Everyone was drowned. Everyone got sunk into the water. Every one of the boat's crew was drowned. We're talking about each and every one. In such a situation, in such words, when we use either, neither, each, everyone, we tend to use, or it has to be followed by a singular verb. Again, we've used over here was and not a plural verb. So make very sure when you speak, read, write such sentences starting or beginning with neither, either, each, everyone, and such things. One last example of this type, the word many a. Many a human being, it means quite a lot of human beings. Many a human being is tempted by gold. Means there are many in this world who are tempted by gold. Is tempted by gold. So there are many people in this world who get lured away or carried away with or get tempted with gold. So these were a few sentences with regard to this rule that we just learned. Yes, we have quite many rules like this to be learned still. So be very attentive. The next rule that you need to learn about the use of the singular and plural with regards to subject verb agreement is when two singular nouns qualified by each and every, even though connected by and must be followed by a verb in the singular. Let me put this on the board so it's easy for you to understand. Two singular nouns qualified by each and every. And the other thing is even though. Even though. Clear? Even though connected by and must be followed by a verb in singular. It's important to remember this rule. Just two of these examples which will help us to understand the rule better. In the sentence, each boy and each girl was given a prize. So you see in this sentence too, the word each has been used. Two singular nouns qualified by each and every. So each of them has been qualified or associated with the word each. Each boy and each girl. We're using the word each with each of these nouns. Okay? With the word boy as well as with the word girl, the word each has been associated. In this situation, in such a case also, we use a singular noun. One more example with the word every. Every man and every woman. In the village knows him. So you see, the word every man word connected with the word every, and the woman word also connected with the word every. So here, two singular nouns qualified by each and every, even though connected by and must, although it's connected by the word by, even though connected by and must be followed by a verb in the singular. So what have we done? We use the singular word was over here. Every man and every woman in the village knows, K-N-O-W-S, knows, and not know. Okay, do not get carried away once again the word s. It is singular, knows and not know, which is the singular verb. Well, these two sentences must have helped you to understand this rule. Another example, errors due to proximity. Often the verb is made to agree with the number with a noun near it instead of its proper subject. Be careful with such errors. Let's see what these errors are in the next phase of understanding. Errors due to proximity, due to our understanding. Often the verb is made to agree in the subject verb situation. Many a times, often the verb is made to agree in number with a noun near to it. With a noun near to it. Instead of its proper subject. Instead of its proper subject. So we need to be very careful when executing or understanding such sentences, as we will be seeing in a few examples now of this type, where we happen to make errors or mistakes. So let us see. As in the example, the behavior of the children were excellent. So you see here were should be replaced by was in order to agree with behavior. Have a look carefully. The behavior of the children were excellent. So what were excellent? The children were excellent or its behavior was excellent? So behavior, abstract, singular noun. So the verb must be in agreement with the behavior and not children. So the error that has been committed is looking into the word children, which is close to the verb. Hence, this has been considered and not the abstract noun or the subject behavior. This is the proper subject. The behavior of the child was excellent and not were excellent. Hence, we should not commit such mistakes. The behavior of the child was excellent. Therefore, were should be replaced with was. Keeping in mind the subject which it is referring to. It should agree with the word behavior. One more similar example. Not one of his lectures have ever been printed. You see, the subject one of his, okay? The subject is one and not lectures, one of his lectures. We're talking about a single lecture, not even one has been printed. And we've written the verb have. So what should have been written? So we should be writing over here, not one of his lectures. The verb should be has and not have. So not one of his lecture has ever been printed. Should have been the correct statement. Therefore, we need to make a correction over here. Not one of his lectures, where one refers to the singular subject has ever been printed. This makes the sentence correct. So the verb must agree with its. Going further, one final sentence of this type. By that time, by that time, 2 weeks salary were due. So here we are discussing or trying to explain in the sentence that some time has elapsed, some time has come, and by that time not 1 week's salary but 2 weeks salary was supposed to be paid. So by that time 2 weeks salary were due. Okay, here again the subject is salary and not weeks. Therefore the verb should be was and not were. That is the mistake committed in this sentence. By that time 2 weeks salary were due. What was due? The salary was due. We're talking about the salary in this sentence over here. Our main subject is salary. So by that time 2 weeks were not due. 2 weeks salary was due. Salary was due and not were due. Therefore the committed error was were, which is now changed to, in order to make the sentence correct. Well, this must have helped you to understand the understanding about errors committed due to proximity. Let's proceed our topic with yet another rule. When a plural noun denotes something specific quantity or amount, it is considered as a whole and the verb is generally in singular. We've learned about this a little earlier also, so we'll just look into it very quickly. Something which is about a specific amount and taken as a whole. When a plural noun denotes, tells us about some specific quantity or amount considered as a whole, the verb is generally singular. Then the verb is generally singular. Well, to satisfy our understanding, let's take a few examples. I say 2/3 of the city is in ruins. It is in dangers or ruins. For example, due to some natural calamity, there is a havoc. So 2/3 of the city is in ruins, and I don't say are in ruins. I say 2/3 of the city, 2 parts out of the 3 parts of the city is in ruins, and I don't say are. I am not writing the plural auxiliary verb are. I am simply using is. 2/3 of the city is in ruins and not are in ruins. So make sure about this, that you use a singular verb is and not are. Well, one example. Let's take one more example to understand this even better. If you remember the word thousands, hundreds and dozens we just discussed in the previous lecture. I am using 10,000, a specific quantity, a specific amount, 10,000 rupees is a good sum of money, we know that, and not R. Can I say 10,000 rupees are just because I have the word rupees with me? No. 10,000 rupees, rupees is the unit for counting, is a good sum. We're talking about that specific amount which is 10,000. We are not using thousands, that was our discussion earlier. 10,000 rupees is a good sum of money or is a good sum, but not are a good sum. We don't say that. It would be incorrect saying so. Another example with a specific amount or a quantity, talking about say 4 weeks time, the unit of one of the units of time. 4 weeks is enough time. Okay, some given some time, 4 weeks time, enough time to do the job. So in this sentence you see, and not are as a plural, just because the word weeks, 4 weeks, it does not qualify, it does not tell us that it is plural. 4 weeks is a specific amount of time, a specific duration of time. So 4 weeks is enough, and we don't say are enough time. That will be wrong to say. Even when you say it as a trial and error basis, you will come to know that you are speaking incorrect. One last example about this. I say 10 kilometers, measure of distance. 10 kilometers is not a long distance these days. These days. Clear? And I don't say no, I don't say are. So not are. Clear? 10 kilometers are not a long distance would be incorrect to say. I would say 10 kilometers is not a long distance. Well, this was the rule about when a noun, a plural noun specifies or speaks about, denotes, tells us something about a specific quantity or amount considered as one full thing, one whole thing. Well, a similar rule that we just read about, understood about, applies to the titles of books and names of sciences. Okay, so let's take just a few sentences about a similar one. If I have to write a similar rule, a similar rule applies to, similar rule means this rule when talking about a title or a book. Title of book applies to title of books and names of sciences. Names of sciences. So a similar rule. Let's take few examples based on this. I write the Arabian Nights Arabian Nights. What do you see the word nights? Can I say the Arabian Night? No, I shouldn't be saying Arabian Night because it is a fixed name for the title of the book, Arabian Nights. The S cannot be removed, cannot be taken away from that. It is a part of the name, it's the part of the title. Therefore, the Arabian Nights does not mean plural because the S is applied to it. It means singular. The Arabian Nights is an interesting book, and I don't say are an interesting book. It is just one title given to the book, but the thing is, it has an S inside it. The Arabian Nights is an interesting book and not are. And not are. This is how I write. The similar rule applied over here to it. One more thing. Name the United States. Okay, a very common word. The United States, which contains the letter S within its title, within its name. There's no scope. You don't say the United State. You have to say United States because that's its proper name, the proper noun. Therefore, the United States has a big army. Okay, I write like that. The United States has a big army, and in no way I can say have a big army and not have. Can I say the United States have a big army? Is it possible for me to say have a big army? No, not at all. Why? Because United States is something singular, just it has an S inside it. That's the only thing. It's a part of the title or the name. So United States has a big army and not have. Let's take a unit of sciences, that is physics. P-H-Y-S-I-C. Can I write physics without the S and then use it as a part of the name? No. There is nothing as physics in science, but we have the branch of science as physics, which contains an S inside it. Therefore, writing the word physics has an S, but singular thing or a branch or a name of a part of science studies. So physics is an important subject. And I don't write are. The use of the verb are is incorrect. I don't say physics are an important subject. It would be completely incorrect to say so. Because physics is just one singular thing. The only thing is the word S is vested inside its spelling. Well, going along with a similar thing, the word mathematics, the name of yet another subject. Mathematics is his weakest subject. Well, maybe you are very good at mathematics. Mathematics is his weakest subject. And I don't say are his weakest subject. Saying are would be incorrect. Clear? Mathematics are his weakest subject. Wrong, is his weakest subject. So these examples must have helped you to understand the similar rule where a plural noun denotes some specific quantity and which is now applied to titles of books as well as names of scientists. So I think you must have understood a lot about this. We close our lecture today at this note. See you soon with the continuation of this lecture and some important exercises. Till then, have a nice day. Goodbye.